Hi, it's Mr. Like, and welcome back to Like Science. Today, I'm on location in front of the Government Bridge. The Government Bridge is a remarkable bridge. This thing was built in 1862. That's all the way back at the Civil War. It was built as a railroad bridge between Iowa and Illinois in the Quad Cities. Today, the bridge has 4 lanes for traffic and still 2 lanes for trains. The bridge spans the Mississippi at 1,608 meters. But look at how low it sits to the ground. If a large boat wants to come down the Mississippi, this bridge actually has to lift itself up and turn to allow that boat to go through. This is a remarkable bridge with a lot of history. Let's learn more about it. Did you try and make a structure like mine? Did you get to make it any better than mine? I'm not sure mine was too stable or too strong. Hopefully you had some better ideas. Today I want to show you a different structure, one that might be even a little more complicated. Give me just a second. Okay. So instead of a one-story structure like we did before, I have a tower. I made my tower out of masking tape, straws, and index cards. Think about the towers that you have in your city. A lot of people think about towers, they think about large obelisks like the Washington Monument and things like that. But really, anything with more than one story can be considered a tower. If we think about the forces acting on this tower, we have a lot going on. We have a second story and a third story above the ground. If you look at the pillars up here, they need to support any kind of weight that I were to place on the top of the tower. These pillars down here need to support any weight that I put on the second floor, plus any weight that I put on the top floor. That weight of gravity pulling things down is very important when we make structures. What other forces can you think about that would affect a tower? I got one that I thought of. What about wind? What do you suppose will happen if I turn this fan on? What kind of problems will that cause for our tower? Think about that for a second and write that on your worksheet. Now, below that, you'll see that there's a table on your worksheet. The table talks about all of the things that we need to think about as a civil engineer. I filled out the first row from the one-story structure already. So you can see that one of the things that we need to worry about when we're thinking about wind is what is causing the problem. And in this case, it's wind. The wind is causing the problem we need to solve. What's the effect that actually happens when the wind blows? Whenever you have a cause, you typically have an effect, or something that actually comes about because of it. In our case, the tower is most likely going to bend away from the wind. So our problem we're trying to solve is how can we keep the tower more stable in high winds? So your civil engineering solution should involve how are we going to solve that problem. Now I have a couple of materials I'd like you to think about using in order to solve this. I've got some string. How can we use string to make this more stable in high winds? Let's think about using string and maybe some tape in order to make this happen. On your worksheet, you'll see that there's a place where you can draw how you would put that string in tape in order to make this more stable as the wind blows. Go ahead and do that now. Pause this video and take some time to think about where you would attach some string in order to make this more stable. Did you find a solution that'll make the tower more stable? Go ahead and build your own tower and see if you can make it stable using the string. Now think about what happens if the wind doesn't blow from this direction, but also blows from the other direction. What would we need to do in order to make it more stable then? Most of the time, the wind doesn't just come from one direction. One day it might be coming from the east, the next day it might be coming from the south or the west. We got to prepare for everything when we're engineering things. The rest of this worksheet has you reflect on the forces that are happening on towers and different structures. You're going to be learning about structures that have stood up for thousands of years and what makes them both strong and stable. Have fun filling out the worksheet, and I'll see you next time.